Mahalo everybody, Big Daddy here, Big Dick Ballistics coming at you today with basic pistol fundamentals. Before we get into it, go ahead, subscribe to us on YouTube, hit that bell for those notifications so you know when the latest content's coming out. Also check out my link tree and see what other platforms I'm on, give them a follow as well. Now, I do this on a daily basis. I'm a full-time police officer and a full-time firearms instructor for my agency. I always ask, what makes you a great shooter? I just say nothing. Time on the range and consistency. But all that comes down to is the basic fundamentals, which I've pretty much mastered at this point, and that's why we're here today. I'm here to help you shoot better. Here I have a Gen 2 Glock 19. Everybody in America knows a Glock 19. All right, before we go any further, let's go ahead and make this safe. So we're gonna lock that slide to the rear. We're gonna do a visual and physical inspection on this chamber, make sure that there's no source, and we're satisfied that's safe, clear, and empty. So we all know that sergeant, we all love that sergeant, we all hate that sergeant. It's Sergeant BS. So the first is S, stance. I want to be grounded to the earth. I want a good athletic stance, a good fighting stance. Almost like that boxing stance that we see that those professionals use. We put that weight forward, we get a little bounce, we get our nose over our toes, we put weight on those quads, and we stand up straight. Our backs are postured, all right, bladed, flat. And we want to be able to absorb this recoil. You're almost grounded to the earth like a lightning rod. Now, even though the recoil is limited on this Glock 19 over here in 9mm, it doesn't matter. We do this for every gun that we use, whether it be a 22 rimfire, up to a 44 Magnum, 50 caliber Action Express, so on and so forth. G in Sergeant BS, grip. We want to establish a high friction grip, whether it be off of some kind of table or bench in front of us or out of a holster. We have to get high up into this tang, get the web of our hand up in there high, and grip. If we grip this correctly out of the holster or off of that table, we don't have to be fidgeting with it while we're on target. Our other hand's gonna come underneath, chop that trigger guard, and roll over. We want 4 points of contact. We want to get the most out of this real estate. If we have gaps anywhere within this grip, we have to fill them up. We're gonna stack our thumbs on top of each other as not to interfere with the slide catch here on this Glock. We're gonna punch this thing out and use our thumbs as a guide towards that target. These thumbs act almost like a radar when you're bowling. Wherever you let go of that bowling ball and that thumb is, generally that's the direction of travel for that bowling ball. Same goes here. With shooting, all you're really doing is pointing at something and pressing a button. Over the years, you've probably been told how to grip the gun. Just enough pressure of a firm handshake, all right? The problem is my firm handshake is different from your firm handshake. I'm 6'1" and I weigh 340 pounds. I'm basically a linebacker. You might be smaller than me, you might even be bigger than me, but I don't let that fool anybody. It's the fight and the dog, not the dog and the fight. As per Glock, they want you to grip the snot out of this thing. Now, am I gripping too much when the gun is like this? Yes, I am. I'm trembling. I want to grip firm with my support hand. All right, I'm a righty, so my support hand is my left hand. And I want to isolate my strong hand just to pull this trigger finger. When I also talk about grip, I bring this in, this nice prop right here, a classic horseshoe made of metal. All right, this is the lucky horseshoe. It holds all the luck up in here. This is the unlucky horseshoe right here. All the luck falls out. So imagine you, the viewer right now, holding out this horseshoe in the unlucky position right in front of you. You're keeping it out. You're trying to bend it ever so slightly, but it's made of iron. It's not going anywhere. But if you look at my elbows, they're just flaring out ever so slightly, all right? That's the cock and the cant that you want in your elbows to effectively manage this recoil, along with that firm grip. So, with my weight forward athletic stance, my really good grip, that high friction grip that I've established, stacking those thumbs, and my elbows just flared out a little, I'll be able to handle this recoil really well. Remember, you have a mini explosion going off in your hands. The almighty trigger control. This makes or breaks a lot of folks up on the range. There's multiple ways to pull this trigger. There's the slow and steady pull through. There's bringing it to the wall and staging it, then pulling through. And then there's the slap. They're all effective tools in getting the job done. For close combat and within arm's reach, slapping the trigger is the way to go. We need to get rounds on target, we need to break contact from this target, get to cover, get to safety, get to some kind of concealment, maximize that distance. To be accurate for a well-placed shot, even under stress and duress, we could pull straight through. We need to cadence ourselves on our trigger pull. An effective way to do that is to count in your head 1/1000 and pull within that 1/1000. 1/1000. 2/1000. 3/1000. 4/1000. Good trigger finger placement comes from that little crime scene whirl that you see all the time on Law and Order SVU. If you split that right through the middle and place it directly on the center of the trigger, you'll have consistency. If you place your trigger finger more towards the joint, you're going to pull slightly to the right. If you're pulling from more towards the tip, you're going to push slightly to the left. Again, this is geared at right-handed shooters, so whatever I'm saying for a lefty would be the opposite. Now, because we have joints, we're never going to be able to isolate this thing and pull straight back. It's just never going to happen. But if we could pull smooth and consistently, like I said before, with that 1/1000, 2/1000, 3/1000 cadence, we'll have great, tight groups. I don't care where those groups are winding up. We need to group consistently. So if they're lower left, upper right, so on and so forth, we can always change that down the road. But here we're looking for group size and consistency. When you're pulling the trigger, we want to pull it and immediately reset it all the way. We don't want to ever pin this thing to the rear and come off slowly and then hear that audible click and then pull through straight again. All right? To get the most out of it, come straight through. Don't jump off and then back on every time, because you just won't have the same placement that you do every time. We want to get more out of the least amount of movement possible. B in Sergeant BS, breathing. Our diaphragm is a tremendous muscle. It's one of the biggest in the body. When you're exhaling, you're at your most relaxed state. All right? So we're going to try and fire that shot while exhaling. Now, is that practical? Sometimes. But if you don't breathe, you're going to fatigue yourself, A, and B, probably pass out. But yes, sight alignment, sight picture. We always want to have a sharp front sight, all right? Depending on where you're at, whether you're close to the target, you may want to consider being target focused. Have the gun up in between you, but concentrate on that target. As you move further back, you want to pick up that front sight and ensure that it's sharp. Then your target will be slightly blurred. Rear sight will be slightly blurred. Through here, we want equal height and equal light. It'll never be perfect. You have to remind yourself of that. If you could keep it somewhere within your target, and this is grossly exaggerated right here, you'll get those well-placed, accurate shots. When you breathe, the sights will move up and down. If you stay too long on the trigger, you're going to have lateral movement from side to side. The longer you stay up on that target without breathing, while gripping the gun too tight, and while waiting for that perfect trigger squeeze, is going to fatigue you. Come up, pick up those sights, maintain a good grip, and have good proper trigger control. 1/1000. Reset that trigger without coming all the way off. 2/1000. If your cadence is a little longer than 1/1000 or slightly shorter than 1/1000, that's not bad. You have to work up to it. A good way to do so is with a shot timer. I have the packed timer and it works great. It's a great Christmas gift, great stocking stuffer, and I've used and abused mine for years. I don't have it on me right now because I'm doing this video on the fly. So guys, with that being said, you have to basically find your Zen-like state when you're shooting with these fundamentals. Now, I'm not going over reloads and malfunction drills and stuff like that. These are just different ways of hearing Sergeant BS. I'm a firm believer in there is no this is the way, like in that show The Mandalorian.
This is the way.
If you want to start your car, you have to put the key in the ignition, or you have to put gasoline in the gas tank. If you want to load your gun, yes, you have to put a source within the magazine well. You have to chamber around and you have to pull the trigger. Everybody knows that. But there's always a little hack to something. If you have a little hack to get these things done a little bit more efficiently, hey, go ahead, put it in the comments below. Like I said, these are one of just many ways on how to get the job done. If you like my video and want to support me, check out BigDickBallistics.com for merch. We have some nice stuff there, t-shirts, hoodies. They support the channel. Every dollar I make off of that website, I'm going to put right back into the channel to bring you good content. Remember to keep training, educate yourselves, your family, and preach the Second Amendment. Without the Second Amendment, there is no other amendment. You have no other freedoms. And just remember, at Big Dick Ballistics, we put the FU in fundamentals.